You work at a 911 or a 911 call center. Love your question. Oh my
Yes, I work at 911. Never
God.
forget it.
Hello, hello, everybody. My name is Dana Marie, and I am your host for Still Positive. It has been a minute. It's been a few years, and that's mainly because it's been a few years since I've been feeling okay. I've had quite a stint of unluckiness with my health in the last 2 years. I had like an allergic reaction to a treatment that was all over my body. It was really intense and I couldn't like function. And then I had a liter of fluid around my heart. So that took me out for a few months. And then I was on this pretty intense, like CAR T cell-esque type treatment that did a lot of good things. Didn't get me fully into remission, so I'm still on a treatment right now. And yeah, so all's that to say that I'm sorry it's been a while, but I've missed you. I hope that we can reconnect in a way that's meaningful to both of us. No, but I'm feeling better. I'm just trying to stay positive. So easy to do. So easy. Such an easy thing to do. So yeah, that's been my life for the past few years. But like I said, I've been missing having these conversations with people about their disabilities, how they float through life. And today I'm talking to Tim. Well, this is an older episode, but that day I did talk to Tim. And I learned a lot about what he goes through on a day to day. And it's been really nice to revisit these episodes that I recorded a long time ago. And I hope that you enjoy. I'm Dana Murray, and this is Still Positive. Let's be real, people love to gloss over chronic conditions or disabilities with a fleeting comment like, just be positive, or a fleeting insult like, kale will cure you, as if your life was that easy of a fix. This is a podcast for when you face a different reality, knowing that positivity isn't a magic wand that's going to cure everything, but a flashlight in the dark that we may or may not have batteries to. Living with a chronic illness or disability makes you feel different, and your difference could be noticeable to others or not, but either can sometimes make you feel invisible. I'm here to tell you that your experience is valid and shared by others in the dark. Positivity is not the missing puzzle piece that's going to solve your life's puzzle, but it can be a beautiful tool that can help you grow, and sharing those experiences can make us grow together.
Yeah. Yeah, I do 911 dispatch. I work 3 to 11, and I used to do overnights, and overnights almost killed me. Seriously, I couldn't do it anymore. But yeah, been doing it for 9 years, coming up on 10 in January.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
are the person that they contact whenever they first call?
Yeah, we handle pretty much the majority of cell phone calls. So if you call from a cell phone in Massachusetts, it pretty much goes to us, and then we work with the local town to get them help, unless it's on a highway, because I work for the state. So a lot of the state highways that we handle, we do like for like accidents or like medicals on the highway, bunch of stuff.
Wow. That must be a really intense job.
Yeah, after a while, you kind of get numb to it. My first year I worked, I was in training, and the Boston bombings happened. And they kind of just threw me on the phones, and they're like, all right, it's time for you to start answering calls. I was like, okay, let's do this.
That must be so intense. And like, so you have ADHD, anxiety, bipolar 2, and you're manically depressed. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's, does that even like phase you with the job at all? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I try not to take it into work, but I try to like practice self-care in a way. But no, there's some days like there was one call that somebody passed on the line, and that really beat me up. I had to like go and like talk to somebody and all that jazz. And then I had a murder suicide on the phone. It was just you get some. yeah, you get some crazy calls, and it's like, and we're not morbid, I would say, but we have to like all of us have like a sense of humor in a way. Not like we make fun of it or anything, but like we have to keep each other like kind of upbeat and stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, there's some calls that really fuck people up.
Wow. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like to have, I mean, does your job require mental health checks because of the intensity of the job itself?
Uh, Not really. They don't do any debriefing, but we have resources to help if we need it.
Mm,
Some people might not need it or they don't think they need it, but like they kind of push it if someone does need it.
wow. Yeah. I mean, definitely. It's such and you have to be so like present, I feel like, in being
Hmm.
on the phone with such an emergency and
Oh yeah.
calm. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, but you get like funny calls too. Like you'll get like a child that calls up and like asks for like homework advice for like a math problem and stuff. So you kind of like unless it's not busy, you kind of just entertain them for a little while. Then you kind of send the police over too, because you never know. Like people dial 911 for a reason, even if it's like a pocket dial, like that's their reason.
Right.
So like if they do that, we gotta at least try to contact them back and see if they're all right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember when I was a kid and we did it for the first time like stupidly and they called back and were like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to get arrested."
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it was we definitely you have to learn. I'm the type of person that has to touch the butt like touch the thing to make sure it's hot, like
Yeah.
so that's just how it went. But so you're from Boston originally or
Yeah, I was born in Boston, grew up in the city of Quincy, home of the presidents. And then I live in Whitman, Massachusetts now, which is home of the Toll House cookie.
oh,
Fun fact.
yeah. Have you ever gone to the factory?
It's actually not there anymore. I think they got moved to Texas, but they still have the original sign up, and it's like a Walgreens now. So people probably get confused when they go to Walgreens.
Yeah, probably. Like, where's the Toll House?
Yeah, I don't think that Walgreens even sells Toll House cookies, which is even worse.
I know. Such bad advertising with that sign.
Yeah,
They just want to be
seriously.
known. Makes sense. So you've been living with anxiety, ADHD, bipolar 2, and manic depression since how long? How long have you had those?
Oh man, so I had undiagnosed ADHD all through high school and college. It was like a kind of a running gag for like all my friends because I couldn't pay attention. I was like more worried about like chasing girls and like goofing off in class, like just not paying attention. So like that was it. I don't think I really started having depression until college, and I didn't really understand like why. I thought I was just homesick and like the lady at like the doctors that like within the school, like the nurse, like gave me Zoloft, and they were like, "Yeah, good luck," pretty much. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then like I didn't really like taking pills after that because like I just was like, "Nah, it's not for me." But I would say probably like around 2015, 16 is when like I started kind of coming out more with like anger issues and just like having pretty bad mood swings.
Mhm.
But then I wasn't diagnosed until like right around when I was going to attempt suicide via hanging. And that's when I started to get real help and like going to a therapist, even though I was seeing a therapist at the time because I needed help and it still wasn't doing anything. And then that happened, and I remember just like I was awful. I tell people all the time when I had my long beard, I had like a pretty like long, like gross looking beard, and I was like, if you ever saw me like that, that's when I was at my worst. And my therapist was like, saw me grow so much, and she was like, you just look 10 times better because I looked awful. Like you could see it on my face, but. Yeah, once I got diagnosed, it was kind of like popping a pimple on the middle of your back. It's like I finally got it. There's still like it still kind of hurts a little bit, but it's like a relief in a weird way.
Yeah, because it's like an answer to how you've been feeling the whole
Yeah.
time. Like I feel like even in like cancer and like realizing like all of these things that were just like building up that just felt like unanswerable or there was like no end in sight to like figuring out why I felt this way. It's just like getting the diagnosis sort of felt like, okay, like I'm not crazy. Like there's something that other people have that like there's doctors that are for this specific thing, like it was just like a relief in that way. I mean, and then everything else was like, oh my God, what do I do now? But at the time, it was just like, okay, there's something that feels like there's an answer or like a road or a path, you know?
There's mood disorders that I was reading about, and one of them is like a medical mood disorder for people that have like AIDS, cancer, and stuff. So like that comes out for some people. Like obviously, like anyone can get like depressed or have depression. Like sometimes, like I can be depressive, but I don't have depression. So I saw there was like bipolar one, two, manic depressive disorder, but then the other two I saw were ones that were like opiate related that gives you a mood disorder, and then like having a medical disease is another one that can trigger like a mood disorder, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many chemicals going around in you like all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's like PTSD and things like that. But so bipolar disease, you have bipolar 2, and there's a different level, which I didn't know about. So what is
Yeah.
bipolar 2 in comparison to bipolar 1?
So bipolar one is you are manic for a long period of time. Manic and depression happens for like a long period of time. Bipolar two happens in like quick waves. So I can feel manic for it's high. Well, bipolar two people have hypomania, which isn't as severe as mania, and this can go like up and down. So when I got diagnosed, they explained it to me like like the beep beep machines, like when someone's on life support. Mine was like up and down like crazy, and then when I got my medication, it capped me off. Like it's still gonna happen, but not as severe. So yeah, it's pretty much like longer and shorter versions of one another. They both people have it. I personally think I don't think anyone's disease or anything is worse than somebody else's, but I couldn't imagine dealing with bipolar one for like long periods of time. I felt like I possibly had it because there was times where I was super depressed and I wouldn't get out of bed, I wouldn't shower, and it was like weeks on end. But I think that was like the depression side more than the manic side because I wasn't feeling manic at all. When you're manic, it seems fun for other people. You you like gaslight yourself into certain weird things that you're gonna do. Like I remember being manic and being like, you know what, I'm gonna build a doghouse today. I don't even know how to use a screwdriver properly. Like well, I don't know what I was doing to myself that I you set yourself up for failure a lot, and that's when you like the depression kind of hits. You're like, wait a minute, I'm not that smart. I'm like stupid. Like I don't do things right. I'm not a man. Like that's when that happens and you spiral. I do have seasonal depression as well, and I'm glad that I know it's coming in a way, so I can try to prevent it. And like I get put on Wellbutrin. I don't know if you know that, but that's like it's for like helping people stop smoking and helps for like seasonal depression, which is like the most random two different things that a medication can do. But that one helped me a lot. And just doing the podcast when I started that in November 2020 is when like it kind of kept me busy and away from like thinking about it.
I feel you. Yeah, that's what I when I kick up my episodes too. Is like in the winter. First of all, it's easier for scheduling, and then also it's just like we're just like in the our little holes together. We're just like
Yeah.
creeped in. But so
But you know what it is too with podcasting during the summer. I always found this funny. Numbers are always down in the summer because no one's rolling down their windows like turning up 22 minutes in the speakers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's when I realized that it's like summertime isn't the best time for podcasting.
yeah, that makes sense too. Actually, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. No one's really looking to learn about chronic illness and disability and depression while they're like out the beach. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
oh man. So you can feel some of your like seasonal depression coming on, but then in terms of like other things, like I know anxiety is technically like you can feel it coming on because of a panic attack or something, but do you feel like you can feel do they tell you when you have to like go back to your prescriber or something like that or get something new, or can they not really do that even?
No, they can do that. They work with one another. So like they work on that. Like they'll talk to him about it. And like I was diagnosed by my prescriber because of everything. And like so like they told him like how the meeting goes. And like I'll talk about it and I'll be like, because they're not medical professionals, so they don't really know like they probably know like the sides of medication like I do. You know what I mean? Like Adderall goes with ADHD. I don't know the details behind the science behind it, but I'll take the medication on his word. Um, but no, that rarely happens with like the therapist like saying that. I think calling my prescriber every once a month and just telling him how I am. It's like quick. It's like I tell like the novel stuff to my therapist and I give him the short story. Like I give him the cliff notes on that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of funny to how that works.
Yeah, multiple doctors. It's always sort of, which is great that you could go to your new therapist and be like, can you just get caught up? I don't feel like going through the whole thing again. Like, just get the clip notes from my old therapist to your new therapist.
That's what happened with the one I didn't like. She like started over. She was like, "Oh, this sounds like childhood trauma." I'm like, and I hung up on her. I'm not even lying. I closed the laptop because I was like, "I'm good, thank you," and I just shut it. And I was like in an awful mood, and I was just like, because I have an episode on it. It's called it's like episode whatever. I hung up on my therapist. And it was kind of mean in a way, but like she was just like how do you have you have a file on me and then you're bringing up like the like, oh, tell me about your childhood. It was just like the cliche therapist. Like I should have been in like the leather like couch laying down while she was talking to me, and it
Yeah,
was tough. And it's different now. So I've been doing remote for like, oh man, for like 2 years now. Like I haven't even met my therapist in person yet.
wow. How do you feel about that?
I like it because I don't have to go there. I don't have to drive. I can just wake up, which I usually do, and just go right into it. But it's, I think like everyone needs interaction. I've always read about that. Like people like need hugs. Like a 5 second to 10 second hug is like very good for your mental health. I read. Again, I'm not a professional. Everything I say is like what I read in 10 seconds on an article. Like you know what I mean. But like we need human interactions, and like some people don't like being hugged. Like I understand that. Like I'm a huge hugger, and I'll like try to go in for one. I'm like, oh wait, I should probably ask people before I start hugging them because I'm a big hugger. I think I always like sometimes I didn't like life. I didn't really enjoy it, but like the little things I like that. Like if I see someone, I'm like, oh man, I'm so happy to see you, and it's like such a good feeling. And then you like hug somebody, and you're like, that's just like a good interaction that like just boosts your like endorphins or whatever it is, your serotonin or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not smart. I don't know these words, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Especially I had a lot of long hugs when I was first like diagnosed. And like at first I was like, this is creepy. But then like after a couple more people, because like, I don't know, there's just like, motherly sort of just like long hugs. And then after a while, I was just like, this is sort of nice. It's great.
exactly.
But so you started a podcast too,
Mm-hmm.
and
20 10 minutes.
20 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some people get it confused. They sometimes say 20 TI minutes. Like I have a podcast about the rapper TI, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's totally different. I don't know how many times I could talk about TI, but yeah,
Yeah.
20 10 minutes.
Nice. And so you've talked to a couple different celebrities actually, right? On your podcast?
Yeah, I just recently had Dane Cook on. Very nice of him to donate his time. I sent him a message. So this guy, Tony Grubmeyer, I interviewed, great guy. He's like a low-key mentor for me. And he was like, oh, like we talked about like somebody that I met famous. So one of the first people I met that was famous, and it was Dane Cook when I was like 18, 36
Wow.
now. This was like eons ago. So he's like, send him a message on Instagram. I was like, all right, that's a good one. See if you can get him on the podcast. And he's like, don't send him a message, send him a video message. And I was like, that's such a good idea because like if I'd be more inclined to open up a video from somebody and instead of reading something. Hopefully they don't send me something creepy, but I
Yeah.
understand like that was like something that like would work, and we worked on it for like a full year, and obviously he's super busy with everything, and finally one day he was like, can you do today? So I like ran up to like my recording studio and just got right into it. Like I crushed out a couple questions right away, and it was really fun. But yeah, I've had a bunch of different people. I've had like stand-up comedians Jessica Michelle Singleton, who's wicked funny. I've had professional wrestlers like Leo Rush, Al Snow. I've had soccer players. I just had on Miss Massachusetts, which I'll be rooting for her when she comes to the Miss USA contest. Um, and
Yeah.
then one of my favorite interviews was with John's Crazy Socks. I say this on every conversation I have about this. So John's Crazy Socks is owned by a gentleman with autism, Down syndrome, and him and his father own the sock company, and he was so motivating that he almost made me cry on my own podcast. And he was like just being like, you can do whatever you want. And then I was just like, John, you need to stop, I'm gonna lose it. And just to see it, and they were probably one of the only podcasts that emailed me after the interview and gave me like a testimonial, and the father was like, this is one of my favorite interviews, and they've been on like CNN and like ABC Today Show, like that type of stuff. They were on a commercial for like Microsoft, and he was like, this is one of my favorite ones because obviously everyone asked about John, which is like exactly, but no one asked about the mental health side. He was like, the easiest thing in my life was raise a child with Down syndrome, and I thought that was super cool for him to say, just because like everyone would be like, oh, that must be tough, but like you can see them like they're like best friends, and they were just like so joyous to chat with. So I always say they're my favorite interview, and I tell people like go buy their socks and just support like a smaller business.
Wow, that's great. Seriously, I love when you find those people that are just like so happy and like just so joyous. And then especially like a duo, like a father-son duo, that's warming my heart. And I'm not even
Yeah.
talking to them, so I can't even, I don't know how he would hold it together, honestly. Like,
Yeah, he that's what he wanted to do. They're like, "What do you want to do?" And it's I just want to start a sock company. And his what is it? The motto is socks, socks, and more socks. And they sent me socks. I still wear them to this day. They're great. So that's an unofficial sponsor ad from John's Crazy Socks from 22 Minutes.
nice. Yes, go grab some. I'm gonna get some, honestly.
Yeah,
Awesome. So, in terms of you going on medication, just get back to
yeah.
that. How do you feel about people that are against medication but are struggling with uh, any of mental health disorders?
I've talked to people about this, and I've talked to people on my show where they gave up medication. They did like holistic like practices and stuff, which I find super interesting. Like people will be like on herbal stuff and like meditation and like yoga, which is like great. Everything doesn't work for everybody. Like my medication might not work for somebody else, or my medication could result in something like a different um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a different like reaction or symptom. Or, you know what I mean? You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about?
Yeah.
Because I don't. um, um, but yeah, so like I don't mind. Like someone was saying like they were taking like ketamine to like a little small doses of like ketamine to like help them out. And I was like, that's super interesting. Or the micro dosing. So a
Mhm.
lot of people I think are steering away because there is like an epidemic with opioids and pills, and
Yeah.
how it's like some doctors will just give you anything, and it's like I have to give my ID with my Adderall because I'm pretty sure you can make meth off it.
Yeah.
And it's such like a street drug that people will spend a lot of money for. Like I found out, like I would never do this obviously, but I found out like my medication would go for like $25 a pill, and I get like 60 of them. So it's like
Wow.
I could see why people sell them. So like those are the types of people that don't even take their own meds.
Right.
So someone could sell their pills for other drugs, which is another like avenue that people forget about.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting. I wouldn't, I can't say I wouldn't recommend it, but if it was me talking to myself, I probably wouldn't recommend it because I was such a miserable person, and just to see the transition of how I'm doing. But like I'm part of a Facebook group that has like everybody that has bipolar, and some people like they hate what I'm on. They're like it doesn't work, but you can't, again, you can't go off somebody else, which is like I think that's the scariest point, is like people going to WebMD, like that type of stuff, and being like, oh, I must be bipolar, or like I saw it on TikTok and I saw a dance about ADHD, so I think I have it. And it's like, oh my God, this stuff is not helping the situation whatsoever.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I think the awareness is very out there for a lot of different conditions. And I think that's not really what we need to aim for anymore. It's like pinpointing like when you should go to a doctor, or like when it gets to like a certain point, not just like, I don't know, like I think breast cancer awareness gets like a lot of like cred on that for like, we're aware. Like we know what it is. Let's stop marketing it and like just do a little bit more in the direction of helping people at this point for some things. Like,
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I just learned this that I kind of heard about it, but I got it confirmed. I don't like bad mouthing anybody that raises money, but Susan G. Komen or Susan B. Komen or whatever it is, I guess the most of their money is taken from advertisement. Like they don't send the money to like actually help research. They use it for like their own advertising, which is like super weird to me. I guess they raise awareness, which is good, but I don't know like the extension of it. When it comes to money, that's when it starts getting like kind of sketchy. But again, not bad mouthing them. They probably do a lot of good work, but I've just heard that. It's like
yeah,
a fact. You know what I mean? Like if it's true, they can't. It's not mean.
right, right. No, that's definitely like a widely sort of rumor, I guess, a wide
Yeah,
rumors are out there. And I
yeah,
don't know, like the same thing. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard things like that
yeah,
too, especially for them. But it's crazy. I mean, like you're saying, money is a contender in all of that stuff. And I think that just like giving it back to the people is definitely the most important part, especially, I mean, since you have therapist that's virtual, you don't really have to travel that much, but all of your other expenses, like, do you find that you run into difficulties with like insurance or anything in that sort of situation?
it's funny that you brought that up. I wanted to bring that up as well. And I've had it like I'm fortunate enough to have a well-paying job and have good insurance, so my medication isn't that expensive. Sometimes like my what is it like not my copay, but like when I come to a full calendar year, I gotta pay like my like
Oh yeah.
whatever the fee or whatever. So like it can be kind of high, like 100 or so bucks. But I'm able to afford it. Not many people are able to afford it, and it's like okay, like this person needs this medication and they can't afford it. Like so they spiral. They realize they don't have money. Like I could see what would happen with that. So that's like one of the issues with the mental health care system is like that alone. Like there should be like a food stamp type of like process to do, which they might have. I don't know because I'm not in that situation. I should probably learn more about that. So thank you for bringing up that topic. I think there are a lot of more resources that I do know that you can go on. Like I know if you go to NAMI, the NAMI.org, I think, like they show you resources that if you don't have money, then there's like the suicide prevention hotline 988. There's the text line that if you don't like talking to people on the phone, which I don't. I order my food online. I try to text any company I can. I don't like talking on the phone. I'm so
Mhm.
anxious because I'm not good with my words, as you can tell. Um,
I get
so
it.
yeah, there's so many resources for people out there, and I tell them I'm like, you just gotta look. If you need help from somebody, like I don't mind helping. Like I can't guide you or tell you what you need to do, but if you need some information that you can find, I don't mind like sending it. Like on my website, I have a resource section with like all that type of stuff anyway.
That's great. Yeah, and I'll definitely link that in the notes for sure, because that's always helpful too when you just like find something that'll help you from like someone else just sharing it. I think that that's really important.
Yeah,
Um,
there's so many companies out there, the like organizations. There's like ones for just like the African American community. There's ones for the LGBTQ plus community. It's like really cool that it breaks it down into different um, like sexualities and races and like all that type of stuff, which is good. Like I was doing articles and I had an interview on the African American community with mental health. Like I'm not a black man, but like I love talking about that certain stuff because like that's how we break the stigma is having those awkward conversations. Because a lot of white people have a tough time talking about black people, which
mhm.
is like is even awkward to say. Like that's the truth though. That's one of my biggest things. It's like that is like a stone cold truth. A lot of people do. So um, like a lot of black people want a black therapist, and I understand that. Like I learned about that, and like they go through the same problems that any black person probably goes through. So I love that type of stuff, and I think like inclusive. Oh, is that the word I'm looking for? See, I don't speak English well. Like
I
that's
don't
like
either.
my
It's okay. I think
yeah.
it's
So I
inclusivity.
yeah. So it's cool to see that, and there's so many different like organizations like that, and it's just like that's how you break the stigma is like those types of companies that you have to I keep saying companies like they make money. It's organizations and like nonprofits that do all this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's really cool how there's different methods of getting help.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree about breaking the stigma about like not even bringing it up at all. Like, I think it's cool you just brought it up now, because it's true that there are different avenues and people have different needs. That it's great when they find people that can relate to those needs, like certain practitioners or specialists that work with certain subsets of people, because it's like not everyone's the same and not everyone has the same needs. But when you come from a place of sort of understanding, then you feel so much more willing to open up and be like honest, which is great.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah. I
where
love
finding a therapist can be difficult sometimes.
super difficult. You don't have to take the first therapist that you get. You can try to like shop around, but the hardest thing I tell people, and this is like the truth, and it's unfortunate, is the road to get there is very difficult. When I went to my doctors to tell them about it before I got help in a therapist, every place we called, she was with me for an hour. My nurse practitioner sat with me for an hour calling places, and all of them had a 6 month wait. So it's like, oh, you want to kill yourself? Just wait like 6 months and
Yeah,
we'll take care of you.
yeah,
Um, so I finally got into a place that like I could find a therapist, and I was very lucky to hit it out of the park with one because before 2018, like I tried to get into therapy, and there was certain people that I talked to that I just didn't mesh with. Um, like this one lady, I went to her house and it was like a farm. And like when I went in there, I felt like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. There was like books opening by themselves. There's like doll heads like hanging around. I can't do this. Like this is freaking me out. So I kind of gave up on like doing it because I'm like, no one's gonna help me. Like this isn't gonna work. It's not for me. It's like when people are like, oh, medication doesn't work for me. But then I went back and got help and just I always forget that like my memory and like depression, like my depression like wiped out some of my memory, and there's a lot of things I don't remember that I did or said. Like the day I was gonna kill myself, I watched the Adam Sandler like special on Netflix. It's like Fresh or something like that. And the last thing I remember is watching his song about Chris Farley, his friend that died, and I remember just crying hysterically. And then I tried to like attempt it, and then a year later, a lot of people have triggers or whatever. So like you said, so like something like that, if I watched it again, might trigger somebody. But I wanted to see it again because I didn't remember it, and I watched it again, and I don't remember one scene. I watched it like I was watching it for the first time, except for the Chris Farley thing because I'm a huge Chris Farley fan, and that's what made me remember. But it's stuff like that. And when I was going to commit suicide, I was going to use my jujitsu belt. I had that around my neck, which is I just got my blue belt, which is like in jujitsu, it's like the second step. It goes white, blue, purple, brown, black, and I didn't care that I got it. I worked so hard for it, did not care. And that's another thing. Someone was like a friend that is not a therapist, but they go to like houses for like families and help them out. She was like, that would be a huge trigger for somebody, and like I would like take that away or put it away. But I don't want those things to hold me down. I want to like win that battle. So like when I go to jujitsu and I tie my belt on, it's on the right side. It's like not around my neck, it's around my waist, and I like it's more like a proud thing. And like even having this conversation openly about suicide helps break the stigma. Like when I talk about this, people's brains are like, like you just talking about this so willy nilly. I'm like, yeah, you got to have these type of conversations. You see
Yeah.
somebody with their arm in a sling, you're gonna ask about it, and they're gonna tell you a story about it. They're like, oh yeah, I fell down a flight of stairs. I'm like, well, I've been my brain has fell down a flight of stairs, and I'm not doing too good. You know what I mean? So I think those are the types of conversations. I'm not like patting myself on the back that I'm doing it. I just think that's how conversation should happen with it.
And like your openness about it, I think will take someone who is so shut in about it and just like crack them open a little bit because they see how open someone can be about it. And I think that that's so important to show that to other people that would never discuss something like this.
Yeah, it is tough. That's why my tagline is break the stigma by cracking a smile. So like I feel like humor is a big one for me, and I try to make people laugh because you make someone laugh even if they're depressed. It's like you got that glimmer of hope coming out.
Yeah. And so what would you say to someone that was, looking for some sort of help, but like just didn't even understand, like back when before you were diagnosed, like didn't understand what was going on, but like did understand that something was wrong maybe. What would you say to someone like that?
I think it's, again, like when I was saying, it's like a long road. You got to find a support system. And I wasn't looking for that until I made like this Facebook post because like I was really depressed and off the thing. And I felt super silly doing it. But I talked about my bipolar and being so open. And I had like a million comments and likes about it. I had people texting me, like people that like I go out drinking with, like my drinking fantasy football buddies that you don't have those types of conversations with. Like they messaged me and just like old friends and new friends, and it was great. So if you can find like a little circle of people that will support you is such a great thing to have. And a lot of people out there might not think they have friends, but there's a million people on the internet that have similar stories or similar issues as you that you can find out. Then I tell people, I'll be a friend. Like, shoot me a message. I have my cell phone number out there. I tell people, like, shoot me a text. Like, don't call me. I don't want to talk on the phone, but I'll talk to you through text. Um, but no, it's stuff like that. So I tell people all the time, you just gotta try to be as strong as you can. But when you like, it takes a village to raise somebody, whatever that saying is. It's like you need those people behind you to keep you up, and just don't be afraid to reach out to friends because again, it's like you break your leg and you can't drive yourself to the airport. You're gonna ask somebody for help, so it's like why not do the same thing?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So throughout everything that you've gone through since being diagnosed and before, do you find that you can still be positive?
Yes, I don't practice what I preach, which is super funny. Like I don't reach out to people when I'm feeling depressed, even though I tell people to. Like I will, like honestly, like I definitely will at times. Or like someone like talks to me, I'll be like, I'm just not in the mood. But no, I find those little glimmers in life. Like I have intrusive thoughts when I'm anxious. Like I'll go to Target and I'll walk. I'm like, am I walking weird? Like is my fly down? Like I'll just be too involved and wrapped up in my own self. But then I'll be waiting in line and I'll be like, what if I just tickled this guy in front of me? Like what would
Mhm.
happen? You know what I mean? And it's like that's when I use my anxiety for good. Like my anxiety isn't as extreme as other people. I just was dealt with it because like again I just have a tough time being by myself out in the world. Like I always need like a companion with me to like go do something, and that's when like I feel unstoppable because I have like a crowd with me, like where I can make jokes and be like, hey, when's if I just tickled this guy in front of me? And it's like one of those things. Like I have a best friend that like is complete opposite of me, like doesn't drink, has never done a drug and nothing like that, and like I protect him with my life. I'm like anyone like tries to get him a drink, I'm like, I will kill you. Like, you know what I mean? So like that's like yeah, that's like my best friend that I can be out with and like I can make him laugh and I feel like I'm not like a leader, like he's his own man, but I feel like he's such like a partner in crime. He's like my heterosexual life mate. And so having like a crowd with me where I can make jokes and feel a little bit better and confident because I'm out with somebody. But yeah, when I'm out by myself, it's like it's very tough for me and it's like it kind of embarrassing.
Hmm. That makes sense though.
Yeah.
It's weird, especially with like everyone just like so completely aware of like what they look like from like social media and like what other people are making fun of on social media. It's just like a lot of awareness to like that sort of thing. But the thing that settles me sometimes is that um if I'm feeling like that, most other people are probably feeling something similar. So
Hmm.
they're probably in their own world too. Like they're doing their own thing and thinking that like we're looking at them, but we're looking at ourselves and we're like, oh my God, they're looking at me, but they're like saying the same thing. So,
Yeah.
they're everyone's just like sort of up here and a lot of people won't even notice anything.
Yeah. Exactly. And that kind of made me think of this for why you're saying this was most people say like don't say like oh somebody has it worse than you, like when they say that to somebody like it kind of like gets them mad, but I've had people tell me that's made them feel good, that when they get told that they're like, well, that makes me appreciate things because people do have it worse. Like well someone may be depressed about not having money, whereas like someone may have money and they're fine with that. So like I was against it for the longest time, but when someone brought that to my attention I was like yeah, it's like not everything is the same for people. Like I have a dark sense of humor that might rub people the wrong way, but it's what helps me.
Mhm.
Like and this is my life. Like I make jokes about like how depressed I was or like my suicide attempt, would be suicide attempt. So it's tough. It's tough because not every like we got to break the stigma, but not everyone's on the same. Like we're all on the same page, just different paragraphs.
Yes. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great way of putting it. Yeah, I feel that. But hey, thank you so much for sharing your time. Seriously, I think that this is going to be really helpful for a lot of people, even just like on the cusp of like coming out about what they're going through. So I think it's really cool that you have this podcast. And I think that a lot of people will relate, which is really great. And thank you so much.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the goal. That was one of my first goals when starting the podcast was help at least one person. And I would say within a month, someone messaged me and was like, "You really helped me go seek therapy." So that really hit me in the feels. But no, for sure, I really appreciate you having me on. This was a great chat. I love this interview that we had.
Thanks, me too. Yes.
And that is our episode. Thank you, Tim, for recording this so long ago with me. I wonder if you even remember doing it, but I appreciate you sharing your story with us. And I appreciate everything that you shared. I know a lot of people deal with depression on various levels, and I just think it's important to talk about. So thank you again. Like and subscribe, do all those fun things. I will have things in the show notes for you to click on and do whatever you want with. And I love you guys. Thank you for all your support, and I hope that you're feeling the best that you can. Stay sick, and talk to you later.
I'm quite scared, thought I was the baddest. I gotta leave, but I ain't free. Make me a gin and tonic, Hendrix on the side. Cause speaking quite frankly, I'm kinda terrified. But once again, it's another Tuesday afternoon. Waiting for the sky to crash, show me tonight's room. Hey. I woke up with a fever, feeling kinda down. Why she using Deezer, looking like a clown.